Anderson. We're here today on an initial permanency hearing. We're conducting this through Zoom. We are live streaming. And I don't have a court reporter logged in just yet, so I'm going to record to the Zoom cloud on this hearing.
Judge Jody is on.
Oh, she just popped up. She just popped up. Okay.
And then Rebecca Henderson was trying to log in but fell out.
Okay. Good morning, Ms. Goodman. Thank you for covering for us today.
Good morning.
Okay, we'll go ahead and take announcements from everybody.
Todd Albee, on behalf of the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services, I'm present, ready to proceed, Your Honor. Shay Grant is the St. Francis Ministries Permanency Specialist who will be giving us an update. In addition, Your Honor, there's been a waiver of interest signed by Mr. Nathan Bell, and we want to prove up that and terminate any interest you may have in the child.
And Your Honor, I'm Tate Eldridge. I represent Nathan Bell, and I don't know if he'll appear today or not, but he did sign the waiver of interest.
Okay, he is not in the waiting room.
Your Honor, Lorraine Lucero. Oh, I apologize. Lorraine Lucero appearing by phone for the mother, Rebecca Henderson, and Kendra. I'm standing for Kendra Naranjo, her attorney.
And Stacy Zavala on behalf of Nathaniel.
Okay, so Ms. Henderson was logged in. I let her in and then she fell out, but she's not tried to proceed. But I'm gonna show that she was present today because she obviously has attempted to get logged in. Okay, what do we have new since the court report was filed other than the waiver of interest?
I don't have anything new. Nathaniel is doing well. He's made a lot of progress since being in Levelland, and Mom's Working Services. Everything's going great.
Are they having any kind of visits?
They are. So they get every other Monday phone calls, and then Mom will go to Levelland and do in-person visits. They had some visits during the holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, things like that. And visits are going pretty good.
Okay. Great. All right, and Ms. Lucero?
Your Honor, Kendra brought to my attention, well, she wanted me to bring to the court's attention that the visits are going well and her client is working, Ms. Henderson is working services, and they did have a good visit over the holidays. They were requesting, the mother was requesting to see if she could have an overnight visit with the child. His birthday's coming up. From what I see on the report, it's February the 18th. And I didn't know and if the department was opposed to that, but she was requesting an overnight visit for his birthday.
Let me look at the calendar. And see, that is a Saturday. So, Ms. Grant, what would you think about maybe a weekend visit or something like that?
I think it's a good idea.
Okay. I know some of the schools have holidays sometime around that. I don't know what his particular district has, but let's just say for sure, maybe he could go for kind of a weekend visit for Friday night, Saturday night, and then back to placement on Sunday.
Sounds good.
Unless Monday's a holiday for him. I know there's I think it's President's Day or something, a holiday in there somewhere about that time.
And I know they do school on campus at Flyer, so I don't know if that makes much of a difference, but.
Okay, the 19th is President's Day, and so you might just check. And I mean, if they are out of school that day, I'm fine with him not returning until that Monday. If that works.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Okay, and Your Honor, so I'll just have I'll advise Ms. Naranjo to have Ms. Henderson just reach out to the department to get that set up.
Yeah, just she can contact Ms. Grant.
Okay.
And get it set up.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, and then Mr. Eldridge.
So I don't have anything, Judge. I just like we talked about before, Mr. Bell has signed a waiver of interest, and I'd ask, I guess, that he and I be dismissed out once that's proved up, I guess.
Okay.
I don't know how we do that, but I don't know if you want to keep me around or you want us to stop showing up, whatever you want.
Well, after today, there won't be any reason for you to. You'll be dismissed out. So,
Okay.
let me get an update from Ms. Zavala, and then, I'm gonna let, Mr. Abbott, you want to go ahead and prove up on that today?
I would if it please the court.
Yeah. Okay, Ms. Zavala?
Your Honor, Nathaniel's doing really well. The reports are really good. I love that at Flyers, he's got access to working with animals, which I think is a good thing for him to do. He reports that the visits are going well. He does refer to mom as Jackson and his dad. I think he would love an overnight or weekend visit. My only concern at all is just this is their first overnight. I am great if everybody feels like they can do a full weekend and that would be, then that's wonderful. However, if Jackson or if mom or dad decides that that maybe they want to start with just one night first, I know there are some other kids in the home, but I'm good with whatever they are comfortable with. And I do know that Nathaniel will be very excited about that.
Yeah, I think just whatever, Ms. Grant, whatever you and Jackson get worked out is fine. All right, then, Mr. Albee, who do you wish to call to prove this up?
I would call Miss Grant. Your Honor. Nathaniel's father has been alleged to be Mr. Nathan Bell.
Yes,
Mr. Bell has denied that he believes he is the father. Is that correct?
yes,
Nathaniel doesn't know Mr. Bell.
no,
They don't have a relationship or a prior relationship to this case starting.
no, they don't.
Mr. Bell has executed an affidavit of waiver of any interest that he may have in the child, and that's been on file with the court, correct?
Yes,
At this time, do you believe that because there's no interest and because there's some question as to whether or not Mr. Bell is the father, that the court terminate whatever interest Mr. Bell may have in Nathaniel?
yes, I do.
You believe that's in the best interest of Nathaniel at this time?
Yes,
You're asking the court then to do that and that leave all the other relationships in place and that the department can be continued as temporary managing conservator.
yes.
I'll pass the witness, Your Honor.
Okay, any questions, Ms. Lucero?
No questions, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Eldridge?
No questions, Judge.
Okay, Ms. Zavala?
No questions.
All right, anything further, Mr. Abbey?
No, Your Honor, we'd rest.
Okay, based on the information then today, I will find that it is in the best interest of the child to terminate the parental rights between the child and Mr. Bell, if there are any, based on his waiver of interest. I'll enter an interlocutory order of termination at this time, and I will continue the department as temporary managing conservator, and I will continue the child's current placement. I will make a finding that I think there would be a danger to the child to return the child home, but will approve, the extended visitation as we've discussed today. At this point in time, but after that visit, then of course he'll return to placement. Find mom is in compliance and is working her service plan, that the department's used reasonable efforts to reunify the family, and we're headed in that direction, I think. So, okay, our next hearing will be May 28th of 2024, and that'll be on a 9 o'clock docket. This time, Mr. Eldridge will be dismissed from representation, and you will not need to attend any further hearing.
Okay, thank you, Judge.
Okay, thank you all for hearing today. We're conducting this through Zoom. We're live streaming. Ms. Goodman's making our record. All right, we're going to take announcements.
Daniel Trout for the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services. Tim Cole is my permanency specialist. We're present, ready, Your Honor.
Stacey Zavala on behalf of Joaquin.
All right. What do we have news since the court report was filed, Mr. Cole?
Can you hear me?
You got you.
Sorry about that.
No problem.
First, it wouldn't let me undo my camera, and then it wouldn't let me unmute. Okay, so nothing new really since the court report was filed. Joaquin is at Pegasus, and they've begun treatment. They have stated to me that that he's not ready, for a less restrictive placement, but he's just beginning his treatment with them and everything's going well so far.
Okay. All right. Ms. Zavala?
So really, that was about the only question that I had. I met with him with Zoom the other day. Both he and I had thought he had completed a program when he was in detention and thought this would be a temporary placement and would be soon looking for someplace else. I know that I sent Tim an email and he followed up on that. So it sounds like maybe Pegasus is saying something a little bit different. But that is a surprise to both Joaquin and myself. We thought he was basically done with the program and we were looking for someplace less restrictive for him.
Yes, and Ms. Zavala, I did follow up with Keith Bradbury at Pegasus Schools, and he was a little taken aback by my email because he said that, and I will quote, he said, Joaquin is nowhere near ready for a less restrictive placement.
Okay, well, that's important to know.
Do we know what he participated in at the youth center?
I don't have a lot of specific information about what he did at the youth detention facility.
Me neither, other than I was told he completed the program, but I can try to track that down.
Okay.
And I can ask too, Judge, with our juvenile department and see exactly what he did. Like I said, my understanding was he completed the program at the youth center, but that was all the information I had on it also.
How long was he out there?
It was a while.
I was gonna say, I'm not exactly sure the time period, but he was there for a good while.
Well, I assume they've done some kind of assessment on him at Pegasus, and so, okay. I guess it bears trying to find out how extensive a program he went through and who was in charge of that program. I mean, who was overseeing it. So, okay. Does he seem to be on board with where he's placed right now? I mean, is he?
He seemed fine. We had a good visit. He just, in his head, he was thinking he was going to be moved pretty soon. But he didn't seem to be unhappy where he is.
Well, I guess let's dig in a little and try to get some answers.
Yeah. Claudia Rios is the probation officer at Potter County Juvenile Probation. I'm going to reach out to her and get some more details on what he did complete.
Okay. I mean, I certainly don't question that Pegasus's program is very thorough and I think can be very successful for kids. So, I'm not by any means, casting any dispersions on where he's at. It's just, if they think he really needs to continue, then I guess we got to look at that. So,
And the fact of the matter is it may be very difficult for us to find a different placement for him if Pegasus thinks he still needs services. I mean, that's just the reality.
I agree. All right, then. Well, let's just, information is always valuable. So let's see what we can find out. But till then, I guess we'll continue the department as temporary managing conservator and I will continue his placement. I read that grandmother's cooperating and doing what she needs to do.
And Judge,
Dad is basically MIA. So.
And Judge, family plans were filed yesterday. Grandmother did sign hers.
Okay. And I assume Dad did not.
Dad did not sign. I have located him, but he's not very cooperative.
Right. Okay. All right, we'll continue the department temporary managing, continue placement. Fine, there would be a continuing danger for the child to go home at this point in time. that the department's using reasonable efforts to reunify the child and probably his grandmother. I'll order the service plans as an order of the court. And our next hearing will be on May 28th, 2024 on a 9 o'clock hearing. We are conducting this through the Zoom program. We're live streaming, and Ms. Goodman's making our record this morning. Okay, we'll take announcements.
Daniel Chow for the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services. Heidi Combs is my permanency specialist. We're present ready.
Bailey Sapien on behalf of respondent mother. I have not had any contact with my client, but I am present, Your Honor.
Okay, and Mr. Hammond submitted a written recommendation. Probably everybody's seen that. But, all right, I had Ms. Brown logged in. There she is. We got it. Okay. What do we have new then since the court report was filed?
Your Honor, I'm sorry, I didn't quite make it to my announcement. Jerry Morales for father, Tyrell Hughes. Your Honor, I've attempted to call Mr. Hughes a few times, and I know I think he contacted my office once. I know he's been in contact with Ms. Combs. I was informed that he maybe wanted to talk, possibly relinquish, but I don't know. I have to talk to him. So,
Jerry, what number have you been? What is your number, Jerry?
4. I called you before the adversary and we spoke, and then we got disconnected. I called you back a few times. You never called me after that.
I don't know if because I had got another phone, so I don't know if I had gave you that 220 number before we had got off the phone that day or not.
Oh, I doubt it, because you told me that wasn't your typical phone number. So I called it back and I never got the number. So what's your judge? Do you want me to do?
It's
Hold on. Hang on. You guys are live streaming. I don't know.
Oh, sorry. I apologize.
Mr. Morales, you just want to talk to him in a breakout room real quick?
That'd be great, Judge.
Okay.
Thank you.
I just hate people giving that kind of information out over YouTube.
Okay.
Yes,
yeah, I started.
Okay. Thank you. So, Ms. Sapien, y'all need to talk further?
No, Your Honor, I'll just call her after.
Okay. All right, then. What do we have new since the court report was filed?
Neither have started any of their services and they have not screened. I've offered them rides to go screen and they would tell me they would have rides. They've screened once, which is October 30th, and it was an oral swab, and Tashika was positive and Tyrell was negative. They have hardly at all, if at all, stayed in contact with me. They won't answer their phone or their door.
What? You just came to our house.
But I missed December because y'all were not home or would not answer your phone.
I was sick and I told you this. And I have a doctor's note to approve it.
Okay, hang on, Miss Brown, you'll have a chance. I just let her finish giving her report to me, and then we'll get to you.
Okay.
And she is reportedly sick quite a bit, but I have not received any clinic documentation. The paternal grandma comes down quite a bit to see all the siblings. She has adopted the oldest one, so the siblings are in contact with one another. She has a great relationship with King and his siblings. King is placed with 2 of his bio siblings. They did sign their family plan of service on the 26th of January when I had their face-to-face visit. And that is all I have.
Okay, have they started any services?
No, ma'am.
Okay. All right, and I've read that they did not drug screen since the beginning of the case. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Okay, Ms. Sapien?
Thank you, Judge. I'll just follow up on what my client was talking about. Ms. Combs, have you been able to visit their home since the court report?
Yes, I have.
Okay. And was there any concerns from the department on that?
No, ma'am.
I don't have anything else, Judge.
All right. Mr. Morales?
Ms. Combs, my client indicated to me that some paperwork was submitted on behalf of Ms. Brown, but not for on behalf of him for some services. So when he attempted to get some of his service set up, he was refused because they said it wasn't sent over by the department. Are you aware of that?
It was sent over. They just did not show up for their counseling.
No,
and that is according to the counselor. I mean, I
Yes,
think that he got that information straight from the counselor that they,
she had said,
No, not from the counselor. The counselor, I was sick the day I was supposed to go, but for the rational behavior, they didn't have paperwork on me.
And they rescheduled mine
And we
because
had
they didn't send over paperwork.
All right, y'all. The court reporter cannot take you both talking at the same time. So just hang on and we'll get it straightened out. So
Ms. Combs, and I guess so my question is, Ms. Combs, was the paperwork submitted for Mr. Hughes to complete and to participate in the rational behavior? Because I believe he was informed that it was not, and so he could not begin that service.
yes, it was. He just did not call to get it set up.
When was that paperwork submitted?
I do not have the date in front of me.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not finding it.
Is it possible that it was submitted after Mrs. Brown's?
It's possible.
And if he would have tried to contact him and Miss Brown's was submitted and his wasn't, they may have rejected him.
Okay.
Then I'll pass the witness.
all right. Mr. Hammond submitted a recommendation, which we'll get to, but all right. So Mr. Hughes, if you want to, what were you trying to tell me earlier?
On the rational, like me and my wife both had emails from the rational behavior from Roy Timmons stating that they didn't have paperwork for neither one of us. But when I contacted Mrs. Combs to find out what was going on, she specifically told me herself that Melinda only had submitted Tashika's and not mine's. But we both had the email stating that they never received paperwork on either one of us. They emailed us both personally.
Okay, so Ms. Combs, can you do a little checking into that and get to the bottom of that?
Yes, ma'am, I will.
Okay, we'll make sure that they get the paperwork.
Yes,
Ma-
ma'am.
May I
And
ask,
Ms. Trout? Go ahead, Mr. Trout.
Mr. Hughes, when was that you contacted them?
Hold on one second. Because we had contacted them in November and the rational behavior class was in December.
Okay.
But give me 1 second, I can give you the specific date.
It was the 12th that they contacted me.
12th of what, Ms. Brown?
The 12th is when they contacted me saying that they haven't received any documentation from the, I have the email pulled up right now.
Is 12th of January or 12th of December?
12th of December.
Okay.
Yeah,
But we
mine
got
is the same day.
Okay, you're talking over each other again.
Oh, sorry. But mine was the same date, the 12th of December.
Okay. And Mr. Hughes, you said you reached out to Ms. Combs to let her
Yes, sir,
know?
I did.
Okay. Okay. All right. Have you tried to start any other services?
I got the counseling set up, and the day that I was supposed to go, they basically had told me that Pace didn't have any extra room for me at the time. So Melinda, I think Melinda or Melissa, I can't remember her name, was going to take me along with my wife. So she had ended up rescheduling me another appointment that's supposed to be in February, and I believe we both have appointment set up in February.
As to drug screening, has Ms. Combs tried to send you for drug screening?
Yes, she has.
And have you gone?
No, sir, I haven't.
Why not?
The one time we were supposed to go, we actually made it up there, but we made it a little after 4, which we didn't know that after 4 o'clock, the center does not take anybody for child services. Then the other time that she asked us, she did offer us a ride, but we had a ride, which was my wife's mother, but she ended up having a flat, which this was right around 3 something. So we contacted Ms. Combs and let her know that. Then last time we both were really sick, so that's why we didn't go to the last one that she scheduled us. And we actually have a doctor's note for that. So,
okay.
Well, it's not a doctor's note; it's a statement from urgent care.
Okay. Are you sick today?
No, sir, I'm not.
Are you working?
I am. I've been doing. It's not a full-time gig, but it's a part-time gig with this guy named Randy that I basically remodel homes with him. I used to work with him before, and he had ended up taking some time off. When he came back, which was in the early November, I've been working with him since I had lost my job at Coca-Cola. I've been trying to get back on. I've just been waiting on a phone call from them. But for the moment, I've been working with him, remodeling and painting houses.
Okay. Judge, we'd asked to go ahead and order drug screens today, hair follicle and UAs by 4 o'clock today
Yep, gonna do it.
on mother and father.
Okay.
And we'll go ahead and ask. I don't know what the court wants to do. We intended to ask for an early final be set on this case due to no participation at this time, but let the court make a decision on that as far as what we've heard today.
Okay.
Your Honor, if I may ask my client a couple questions.
Sure.
Ms. Brown, do you agree with Mr. Hughes that you have set up services to begin in February?
Yes.
And is that therapy and rational behavior counseling?
Yes.
Have you set up any other appointments on your service plan?
Well, I set up like apps because on my service plan, they said I can set up apps like parenting apps, like classes of my choice. But Heidi we never got to meet Heidi, and I never got to basically like let her know and update her that I downloaded an app and I'm gonna start those classes, and they have certificates after completion. So
Okay.
that's something with parenting classes outside of counseling.
So it sounds like you have a plan to begin your services. Is that correct?
Yes, I do.
Okay. I don't have anything else, Judge.
All right.
I have a few questions for Ms. Brown, Your Honor.
Sure.
Ms. Brown, as far as the apps and the classes you're talking about, have you made sure that those are approved and will qualify for your service plans?
Yes, I was going to run it by Heidi, and I was going to make sure that was the next step.
Okay. And you understand the importance in staying in touch with Heidi as far as these things. I mean, we're already, 5 months into this case and nothing has been done yet.
Yeah, and honestly, I have my reasons for that. Like I spoke to Heidi about, everything was just like based off of wrong. But I mean, I'm trying to do right to get King, and if this is the only way I can do it by complying, I will. But I feel like everything was started based off of a bunch of wrong.
Okay.
And I mean, like getting your son taken from the hospital, I mean, you can only imagine. It took a little bit for me to comply. Yeah.
Okay. You understand by taking that time that you've shortened your time span to be able to do that.
Yeah, depression, postpartum, all that happened. But yeah, I understand.
Okay. And just a quick yes or no on this, Ms. Brown. There was a report run that I was made notified of just a while ago that stated that you are pregnant again. Is that correct?
No, I am not pregnant again.
Okay. All right. I just want to clarify on that. Like I said, it came through on a TIRS report that was run, so I wanted to make sure. Okay. But you are going to be in touch with Ms. Combs and work on trying to get your services.
I will.
And
Yes, I
y'all
will.
going to comply with screening.
Yes.
Okay. And you understand that we're asking for you to go screen today. Hair follicle and UA today.
Yes, but you didn't ask me if I was still sick.
Are you still sick?
I am, and I've been positive for COVID.
Okay.
But I can go drug test. But I mean, like, what's the point of passing it around? Like, I've been in touch with Heidi. I've been telling her I don't feel good.
Okay. How long have you been sick for?
I've been sick for about 2 weeks now. And at first, the first visit that she rescheduled because she didn't come to the first one that she was supposed to come to. So she was scheduled behind her the first time. Now I do admit that I've been telling her I've been sick, and I have been.
Okay.
A lot of people have been.
Ms. Brown, do you have a copy of COVID test results?
Yeah, I can get them for you. And I will give them to Heidi.
Okay.
Nothing.
Ms. Combs, are you comfortable going out and doing an oral swab on Ms. Brown?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So Ms. Brown, she's going to come to your home today.
Okay.
And Ms. Combs, I would anticipate you'll take protective measures, wear a mask, wear rubber gloves. but she's going to do an oral swab on you today.
Okay, but like, I said I was positive for COVID at the beginning. Like, is it gonna still be COVID if I feel better? Like, this has been over a 2-week span. That's what I told her, that I've been sick. And he asked me how long I've been sick for. So 2 weeks, and I had tested positive.
Okay, well, I'm trying to work
Today if I'm gonna be sick for COVID, like, but I'm feeling better. But I mean, I just said I can take the drug screen.
Okay, I mean, I'll give you your choice. You can go to the lab and
Yeah, I'll go.
and hair. Hang on, you give a UA and a hair, or Ms. Combs will come and administer an oral swab.
Okay, that's fine.
One or the other, one way or the other, I'm going to get some kind of drug screen on you today before 4 o'clock.
Okay,
So which is your preference?
I will go to the either or. It doesn't matter.
Okay, wear a mask and go drug test today. Go to the lab and drug test. Okay?
Yes.
If I understand you correctly, your positive COVID test was several weeks ago. Is that correct?
Yes. He asked me the time frame of me being sick, and I told him 2 weeks. I had tested for, but I still feel sick. But I mean, it's up in the air. I could be still positive for COVID or not, but I will go drug screen for you.
My question to you is, was the positive
yes.
COVID test 2 weeks ago?
I said yes.
Okay. All right. Then I'm going to go ahead and have you go drug test. If they turn you away and won't test you, you're to immediately let Ms. Combs know that so that she can come do an oral swab.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So, I understand life happens, but, you all are, I would think you would be in the fight of your life because this is about your child. And, so far I've not seen a whole lot of effort on your all's part. So, I'm not going to set an early final today because, maybe there have been some other things going on. I'm going to give you all what remaining time you have. Okay, but understand you've got lots to do in now a relatively short period of time. It can be done because I've seen parents do it. But I'm cautioning you all right here, right now. You better get busy with it. Okay, and I'm going to remind you of what I've told you several times. Failure to work your services can result in termination of your parental rights. That is the law. And so if you don't complete your services, somebody's going to be asking me to consider that. So, I mean, I want to make sure you all know straight up that this is important. And it's your path to getting the child back. So, anybody have any doubt about that or any question about that today?
No, there's no doubt or anything about that. But it is one question that's always been up in the air to me since all this started, though, if you don't mind me asking.
So what's the question?
So when all this was said and done and King was took from the hospital, I myself want to know why I wasn't contacted to pick him up. Because when we went to our first little hearing down there with Heidi and Melinda, they basically told me they were putting me in the case because me and Miss Brown were together and we should work this as a family. So y'all threw me in this case. But if y'all didn't throw me in this case, if I wasn't staying in this home, y'all would have never even threw me in this case with that. Y'all could have called me.
That is absolutely incorrect. You were the father of the child.
Well, according to them, the only reason I'm working services is because we should be working them together.
You're asked to work some services because you're the father of this child.
And I understand that, but at the time, why wasn't I wasn't nothing up against me. Why wasn't I contacted for me to come get King from the hospital? I wasn't even, me and Miss Brown were still together, but we were not living in the same.
Mr. Hughes, let me stop you there. Judge, I think what he's getting at is he feels that he's a non-offending parent. And Mr. Hughes has expressed some of his frustration. Mr. Hughes, you and I will talk about this.
Okay.
He's expressed some of his frustrations with the communication back and forth. I don't know if it's on Ms. Combs' end or Mr. Hughes' end. It could be a little bit of both. But I know there's been a little bit of frustration on some of the things. But Your Honor, I think his feeling and what he's trying to express is that he feels that he's the non-offending parent, having had negatives. Mr. Hughes, and like I said, I'll talk to this later. At the end of the day, if you're not going to go and test for anybody, nobody can prove that you're a safe and stable environment. So that's the first thing. That's the first thing we're going to do today. That's the first thing we're going to do today. Don't interrupt me. That's the first thing we're going to do today. We're going to go and get you tested, and then we can start from there. You keep working your services and do what we're going to do, and you and I will talk a little bit more. I got your number now. You should know mine, and so at that point, you and I can communicate a whole lot more. But you're going to have to hit the ground running. But we don't need anything else, Your Honor. We'll speak later, Mr. Hughes. We'll speak later.
Okay.
And just as a reminder, Mr. Hughes, if that was a big concern of yours at the beginning of the case, it might have been a really good idea to have shown up for the adversary hearing.
I didn't know what the date was. We didn't get the papers from whoever was supposed to serve us. We didn't get them until the day of the adversary hearing, and that was explained to Mrs. Combs then.
All right. Well, there's all kinds of ways that you all knew about this case. I mean, you knew the child had been removed from the hospital, so I'm not going to argue it with either of you. That it's water under the bridge at this point. There's a court order out there that says you are to be working your services, and you are not complying with that. You've not been complying with it. So I've told you how important it is, and we're going to leave it at that today. All right, then I will find that it would be a continuing danger to send the child home at this point in time, that parents are not in compliance with their service plans. I will order them to go drug test before 4 o'clock today. That will be hair and UA. And in case the testing facility denies testing Ms. Brown, she's immediately calling Ms. Combs so that Ms. Combs can go administer an oral swab. I find the department's using reasonable efforts to reunify the family, and our next hearing will be May 28th, 2024 on a 9 o'clock docket. So y'all get busy here, or Boleyn. I'm not sure which is the correct pronunciation. We're here on a review hearing. We're conducting this through Zoom. We're live streaming. Ms. Goodman's making a record. All right, we'll go ahead and take everybody's announcement.
Daniel Child for the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services. Yolanda Novak is my permanency specialist. We're present ready.
Ryan Turman for respondent father. I'm present. Does not appear that he is. I'm ready to proceed.
Stacey Grant for respondent mother Samantha Capps. My client's present and I'm ready. I'm moving around, Your Honor, to try to get a stronger signal. I only have one bar, but I'll try to fix that.
Okay, if you might leave your video off if that helps.
Stacey Zavala on behalf of Jaden.
Okay. And Mr. Turner, your client is not present today. I don't have him in the waiting room, but I'll watch for him. Okay, what do we have for you?
Update on the ICPC, ma'am. We reached out to him this month, and yesterday they responded that the state of Colorado had not processed the ICPC, and that they are going to, try to expedite the home study for us and to check back at the end of February to see where they are on the status of doing the home study for Jackie Cochran, which is grandma.
That's in Colorado, right?
Colorado Springs. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. We had any more visitation between mom and the child? Or?
Jaden has been refusing to do virtual calls with mom. He says that he has called mom, but mom, I have not confirmed that he has been calling mom. I did speak with him last night, and he's like, I just don't want to talk to her. He hasn't really given me a definite reason of why, but he doesn't want to. He did tell me he does want to live with grandma, and he does want phone calls and virtual calls. He said that he doesn't really enjoy the weekly virtual calls. So I spoke with him about maybe spreading them out either every other week as a virtual or once a month as a virtual. But he's like, I enjoy calling her. Again, with the family support specialist that supervises those, we haven't confirmed that he has been calling grandma but he says he is. So it's kind of hard to tell, but he's open to grandma. He wants to be with grandma, but he's not willing to talk to mom right now.
Okay. He is actively in therapy, I assume.
He was, and they were doing family therapy, and he refused to do family therapy back in October. I think it was the end of October that they were doing, mom and him were doing family therapy. He was still doing individual therapy. He hasn't done individual therapy in a couple weeks. I spoke to placement, and they said that they are getting a new therapist, and that he said there's two options. They have a new female coming on staff, and they have a male that may be able to do virtual sessions with Jaden as well. I asked Jaden if he would attempt to do individual therapy again with a new counselor, and he said that he would. But that hasn't been scheduled yet because they're waiting for the new therapist to come on staff.
Okay.
But Ms. Novak, is he not done therapy in the last few weeks due to a therapist leaving? Is that why we're swapping therapists, or what's the situation on that?
No, he just didn't want to do it, so he didn't attend.
Do we know, was it due to not wanting to do therapy at all, or was it due to he wasn't getting along with the therapist he was going to?
He said he didn't like the therapist.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify on that, what we were looking at.
Okay. Well, I sure would like to have him back in at least individual therapy. So let's try to top of it and make sure he gets in with somebody.
Ms. Novak, do we know when the new therapists are coming on board?
I did not. I asked placement to let me know when the change would be, and they said they would, but I don't have a date yet, sir.
Okay. As the mom, I think I saw in the report, she still working on a few services, still getting her things done.
Yes, she has 2 counseling sessions left for individual counseling for herself. And she, because of her job change and schedule, she has not completed parenting classes, and that she has rescheduled that with Fatherhood Fire to be starting in February on Tuesdays. She'll be able to attend with her new schedule starting on Tuesdays with Fatherhood Fire.
Okay, and those are the last few that we have for her to get completed with everything, and then we got a family therapies to get started again.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you. No, I'll pass witness, Sharon.
Okay. All right. Ms. Grant?
Your Honor, we don't have anything additional to add really, other than, Samantha has expressed willingness to go visit Jaden if at a point that he would do that. But with him refusing to do all of the services right now, that's just not an option that's on the table. She was participating in the family therapy. Jaden was opening up during that family therapy, but then the refusal started. So until we can get Jaden back engaged, Ms. Capps stands ready to do whatever is needed to be done on her part to engage in the services for the benefit of Jaden. But in the meantime, she's got to finish those last 2 counseling sessions and then that parenting class that she's got scheduled. She has kept as you can see in the report, she's kept the department in contact and updated with her whereabouts and her employment.
Okay. All right, Mr. Turner?
Judge, I've had no contact with my client, ergo I have nothing to report.
Okay. All right, and Ms. Zavala?
Your Honor, I've been able to Zoom with Jaden twice in the last month or so. He does remain very interested in going to grandmother's and not real interested in talking to mom at this point. Although he hasn't said it, my best guess is family therapy started to get into things that needed to be addressed. And when it was painful, he pulled back. That's my best guess as to what's going on.
Okay, well, I think the place to start is getting him back in individual therapy, clearly, and then go from there. So, okay, let me just ask that if the ICPC comes in and is approved, what is the department's intent about placement? Are we talking about moving him right away? Or is his level of care still such that we need to wait on that?
He has a new reading coming up. I believe it's February for a new level of care read. He has bumped down from intense to specialized. We would consider moving him, but we would also like to consider the timing if it's at this middle of school year, end of the school year. Preferably, I think he should move after the school year, but that was something that would need to be staffed and just where he is on behaviors. But moving forward, I believe that we are looking at grandmother, yes.
Your Honor, on that note, I would ask, or state, once we get that home study back, if it is approved, we may ask for another hearing before we move, just to see, if he started with a new therapist where he is and it's going well. I'd like to see some of that continue before the move, but because then we'll have to be changing therapists again unless we can get something set up by Zoom. But just kind of see where we stand at that point if it is approved at that time.
Yeah, and I think, most importantly, we want the move to grandmother's to be successful. And so, I don't want to do that prematurely if he's still struggling with some behavior issues and, so I think it would be a good idea before we move to grandmother's that I think we should all get together again. And hopefully he's back in therapy and maybe we could even get the input from therapist at that point in time. So, all right, well, I'm going to continue the department as temporary managing conservator, and I'll continue his current placement. Find that there would be a danger to return the child home today. That the department's using reasonable efforts to reunify the child with family. And we won't change his placement until we have another hearing, if that ICPC comes back. I'm going to make finding mothers in compliance. I don't really heard anything that indicates she's not complying with what we want to do. To force him to have family therapy with her right now, I'm not sure that's a good idea. So let's try to let that happen.
I agree.
Organically. Okay. Our next hearing is scheduled for April 30th of 2024, and that's on a 9 o'clock docket. So if I don't see you all before then we'll get together then and find out where we're at. But hopefully we'll know something before that. Okay. And our final has been scheduled for July 9th, if you all want to put that on your calendars. Also on the 9 o'clock docket. All right, I appreciate y'all. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
1-2.
Thank you, Judge.
The department
Thank you,
versus,
Thank you.
Miss Luna, Jeremy Alonzo. This is a petition for an order in aid of investigation. We are conducting this through Zoom. We are live streaming, and Ms. Goodman is making our record this morning. All right, I have reviewed the petition and the affidavit in support of that. When the department submitted that, we set this for hearing today. Let's just take announcements real quickly, and then Mr. Albee, you can tell me who your first witness is.
Thank you. Thank you, Your Honor. I'm Todd Albee with the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services. I'm ready to proceed, Your Honor. The investigation in this case has been done by Ms. Sasha Watson with the department.
All right, and Ms. Luna is present. Mr. Alonzo is not present. I don't have him in the waiting room. Ms. Watson, if you will.
He is here. Is that okay if we're on the same?
Yes.
I'm using his phone for it because I didn't know if the video had to work. So like on my camera on my phone's been broke, so like little pieces have came out on my camera. So I used his phone to launch the meeting. So he's right here, right beside me.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
If that's okay.
Thank you for telling me that. So I'll mark him present. Okay, nothing but the truth.
Yes, Judge.
All right, Mr. Albee, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Watson, you're an investigator working with the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services.
Yes, sir.
In that capacity, were you asked to instigate an investigation in the home of Dolores Luna and Jeremy Alonzo?
Yes, sir.
Was that on or about January the 24th of 2024?
Yes, sir.
What were the allegations that made you begin your investigation?
There were allegations of methamphetamine use by mother in the home 2 to 3 times per week.
And did you review Miss Luna's prior CPS history?
Yes, sir.
Did that CPS history include methamphetamine use as a reason to for the Child Protective Service to be involved in her life in the past?
Yes, sir.
And when you got your report, did you talk to Miss Luna's probation officer?
Yes, sir, I did.
And did her probation officer advise you that Miss Luna had admitted to using methamphetamines in the home?
Yes, sir.
Did you go out to the home of Miss Luna and Mr. Alonzo?
Yes, sir.
Did you talk with Miss Luna about the allegations?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And what were Miss Luna's responses to your discussing those allegations with her?
She did admit to some methamphetamine use, but she did not admit to using in the home.
Was she cooperative with you and allowing you to come into the home and to talk to the children?
No, sir.
And I say talk to the children. One of these is just a baby, correct?
Yes, sir.
So you wouldn't have talked to that child. You would have just looked at the child, make sure that the home and the child were not in any serious danger.
Yes, sir.
The older child is how old?
About 2 years old.
So it would have been difficult to actually interview that child also.
Yes, sir.
But you weren't allowed to see the children?
No, sir.
You weren't allowed to go into the home and have access to the home?
Yes, sir.
Are you today requesting that the court order that you have access to the home? Well, before I do that, did you also talk to Mr. Alonzo that day?
I briefly spoke with Mr. Alonzo. At the time, he was not willing to speak with me and reported that he didn't have time and needed to go to work.
So he was not cooperative with you either?
No, sir.
Today, are you requesting that the court order that you'll be allowed to observe both children carefully and that you be allowed access to the home of Miss Luna and Mr. Alonzo?
Yes, sir.
I'll pass the witness, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Luna, do you have any questions that you'd like to ask Ms. Watson? Okay, Ms. Luna, if you can hear me, you'll need to unmute.
Okay, I'm sorry. No, it's because I have my baby in my arms and I was trying to unmute it with one hand. No, I mean, I didn't, that wasn't really a problem that I had. I mean, I did say no. When she did show up.
Okay, hang on, Ms. Luna.
That was around, that was the time that.
Ms. Luna.
Yes, ma'am.
Luna, stop.
Yes, ma'am.
Stop. Okay. It's not time for you to tell me everything you want to tell me. I'm asking you if you have any questions you want to ask Ms. Watson.
No, I don't have any questions.
Okay. If Mr. Alonzo is there, then Mr. Alonzo, do you have any questions you want to ask Ms. Watson?
No, ma'am. Do you have any questions?
No, ma'am.
Okay. All right, Mr. Rowdy, do you have any further witnesses today?
I do not, Your Honor. At this time, I will rest.
All right. Okay, Ms. Luna, now you can tell me what you want to tell me.
At that time, when she showed up, we leave the house at 3:30 to drop the kids off. That way we can go to work because we both work together. And so when she came, I was finishing up and getting ready, and we were ready. When I talked to her outside, we were already running late for like our schedule for work, and he has to clock in earlier than me. So I didn't have time for all that at the moment. I mean, I did tell her no, and I did tell her, because I felt like my kids were fine, and I know she wanted to see if they were fine, but I guess at the moment I didn't feel like I needed to show her that they were fine and healthy, because I know that they're fine and healthy. But like I said, I told her, the time she came was at the wrong time, because we were ready. That was our time to go to work. We have our schedule for, we work till 3 a.m. He gets off earlier than me. Cause it's like where we work is SSI food. So he gets off earlier than me, but of course he waits for me because we go in one car. So I don't pick up my kids till 2:30, 3 a.m, depending what time I get off. And so by the time we wake up in the morning, it's time for us to start getting ready for work already. We literally don't have time to do anything. So that was one of the reasons why I did tell her, like, no, like she couldn't come in and see the kids, because I didn't have time that day.
Okay. Well, you understand that when a report is made to the Department of Family Protective Services that a child or children could be, at risk for whatever reason, that agency is bound by law to investigate that. And
yes, ma'am, I understand that.
If they can't lay eyes on the children and they can't see the environment in which the children are living, or have an effective conversation with you, the father, potentially other collateral, family members or neighbors or things like that, then they can't effectively investigate whether or not, the children are at risk for abuse or neglect. So I'm going
yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, that's why Ms. Watson came out there. She's doing her job. The easy thing to have done would have been probably, either have called into work that day and said there's an emergency, or certainly have arranged an alternative but very soon time to meet. Right.
Yes, ma'am, I understand.
All right. Are you telling me that you're willing to cooperate with their investigation?
Yes, ma'am, I'm willing to cooperate.
All right. Okay, Mr. Alonzo, anything that you want to tell me?
Babe, is there anything you want to tell her?
Oh, no, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Alonzo, are you willing to cooperate with their investigation?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right, then I'm going to grant the order as requested by the department and permit them to have access to the children and to the home. And you all need to cooperate fully with Ms. Watson. I will just tell you that, the sooner she can meet with you all, the better.
Okay.
Okay.
Ms. Luna, it is a concern that you have admitted to the use of methamphetamine. And, that's very, very concerning, because you may not know, but methamphetamine is transferred and can be transferred, especially to very young children, infants, through skin to skin contact. And so whether you are using that outside of the home or out of the presence of your children, if you've used and then you come back into the home and you hold those children, you have any skin to skin contact with them, you could potentially be transferring that to your children.
Yes, ma'am, I understand.
It's clearly not their choice to be exposed to methamphetamine, and it's very dangerous, particularly for an infant. So I'm just going to tell you that that's going to be a big topic of discussion between you and Ms. Watson, and
yes, ma'am,
there may need to be some safety plans put in place about that until you test clean or something, because I just need to make sure you are aware the danger that you may be putting the children in if you are using methamphetamine.
Yes, ma'am, I understand. And I'm going to cooperate fully. Like I told Ms. Watson, I've been I've been clean. We've been doing so great. Everything's been good. It was just, you know, a slip up that I had, but I'm willing to cooperate. Like I said, I've been doing better than ever in my life. I'm doing so good right now. So I just want all this to go away and, you know, to show that it was just a slip up.
Okay, well, slip
But
ups.
I can prove it to you guys. So
Okay, Ms. Luna, slip ups are called relapse. And
yes, ma'am.
if you need some professional help with this is the time to work with Ms. Watson and to get that. Okay, you know, Ms. Watson's job is to help people. Believe it or not, that's what her job is all about. And if you need some extra assistance and need to get into some drug treatment, some outpatient type, you know, counseling, she can help you with that. But you know, you need a really rock solid, what we call a relapse prevention plan. And so those are going to talk to you about.
I have a question. Okay, I just wanted to know, like, what is with the counselor, with the probation, like what I'm going to be starting with her, will that kind of count? Will that kind of like, you know?
It very well may, yeah.
Could that be part of like because I'm going to be she's going to have me start classes too, like she's working around my work schedule for classes for that.
It should suffice for both our purposes and your probation. I would think so.
Okay, that's fine. That's perfect. That's perfect then.
All right, Ms. Watson, when are you wanting to try to go out and meet with them?
If they're home now, I understand that they work. So as soon as we're done here, I can certainly head over there that way and do what I need to do. Okay,
Ms. Lynn, are you all going to be there?
Yes, ma'am. We'll be here. Whichever is easier. They're giving us. They had shortened our hours this week, so we're off Thursday and Friday as well. We work today, but we're off Thursday and Friday. They don't have us on the schedule, but whatever's easier for.
But you don't go to work today.
What was that?
When do you go to work today?
We go to work at 3.
Okay, Ms. Watson, will that give you enough time?
Yes, Judge.
Okay. All right, she will go ahead and head out to your home at this point in time, okay?
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
All right. I appreciate
we're just waking up, so but we're ready. That's fine.
Okay.
We'll be waiting. We'll be expecting her.
Okay. All right, very good. That will conclude our proceeding today. And I wish you all the best of luck. And thank you, everybody, for logging in. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
All right.
Thank you, ma'am.
Jody, thank you.